Wait, are we recording right now?
Yeah.
No, I got one nose.
Well, we'll blow your nose.
Well, close your eyes.
I'm not going to keep it. Close my eyes? Close your eyes. Get in another room. Turn all the lights out in the city. I'm about to blow my nose.
I'm going to pee myself.
Cliff Williams here. Thank you for joining us. I am joined today in the Red Room with my good friend and associate Chandra McGuire / Abner / you never changed your name. No. I gotta. What do you want to go by?
McGuire.
Chandra.
McGuire.
Oh, Chandra McGuire. Chandra
Wait,
McGuire.
Can people know my name?
Well, this is live streaming, so it's too late.
Start over. You know what I want to talk about?
No, but I want to hear you tell me.
I want to talk about Chris Pratt.
You want to talk about Chris Pratt?
Did you hear a couple weeks ago when his new baby was born? All the hubaloo people were doing?
Mm-mm.
Hubaloo is a word.
What happened? Chris Pratt.
He had a new baby with his new wife.
Okay.
And he put out like a simple tweet of, so glad to have a healthy baby. Like, that's just simply what it was. He's just congratulating, have a healthy baby.
Okay.
And all these liberals started coming after him, saying, how could, at the time like this, he put a dig in a Faris, because when she had her baby with him, it came out handicapped or something like that. And they were saying he was using this new baby to put a dig in at his ex-wife and his old baby. And it was the most convoluted, not real thing ever.
I mean, I can see...
No, you can't.
No, listen. What I'm saying is, it's probably not... It was probably the not...
He didn't do anything wrong. All he
I'm not
said
saying
was, I'm
he did.
glad to have a healthy baby.
I'm not saying he did anything wrong.
Yeah.
And again, I'm getting second and third hand information about what happened. I don't even know the story. I wasn't even looking it up. But from what you've told me, I could see how it wasn't the most thoughtful or considerate thing.
He had a baby. All I was thinking about was like, yeah, I had a healthy baby.
This is what I'm saying. Based on the circumstances, he did nothing wrong. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't seem like a purposeful dig at his ex-wife. It seems like just a not well thought out.
How is it not thought? Well, how is it not thought out for him to just say, "I have a healthy baby"? Awesome.
Because under the circumstances, if he did have a baby with health problems from his previous wife,
But it was like 10 years ago and it had nothing to do with what was going on now.
Again, I see all of that. I'm just saying it's not like the
You can cut out all this.
the most thoughtful thing on the planet.
I think you have to overthink it and twist it in some convoluted brain of some people.
If you could just add his ex-wife's name at the end and it's bad, then it's not the most thought out thing. So glad to have a healthy baby, Anna Faris. You
know that's not what happened.
I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying if you could add his ex-wife's name at the end and it's automatically bad.
You should be able to just be a person and say what you feel without people reaching 10 years into your past and assume bad things
I
about
agree
you.
with you, but also when you get paid gazillions of dollars to do your profession and you're in the spotlight all the time, I think you should expect that comes with a little scrutiny. That does come with some scrutiny. I'm not saying the scrutiny's right. I'm just saying you don't live in this alternate universe where people don't use your previous tweets to haunt you. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't even a previous tweet. He just said, I'm happy to have a healthy baby.
I know. What I'm saying is he has to know the world he lives in. I want to live in this place with Chris Pratt where you can say whatever you want and nobody can hold it against you and fire you for it and all that. I want to live. Let's go. I'll pack my bag. We will go live there. Maybe it's Texas.
I'm going to make you cut all this
I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe it's what I'm saying is we do live in this society right now where cancel culture is a thing. It's a sucky thing, but it is a thing. And people love to be critics and they want to criticize anybody who shows a teensy-weensy bit of conservative swagger. They're like, you know what? We're going to come at them with everything. And he knows he's on their radar as a little bit of a conservative person, you know, and in my opinion, is there anything wrong in what he did, in my opinion? No. I'm glad to have healthy children.
I don't think it's up for opinion on either side. He literally just said, have a healthy baby. Awesome.
It is up for interpretation if people say, well, I think it's wrong because to rub that in the face of his wife. And they're allowed to think that that's wrong. I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm just saying that they're allowed to think that that's wrong.
I mean, anybody can think what they want to think. I didn't say that.
Right. And I'm saying I'm not saying I agree with them. I will say that it's obviously not the most thoughtful thing, because if it was the most thoughtful thing, he would have thought about Anna Faris and also been like, well, maybe I shouldn't say it. Maybe I should say it a different way. But all he was thinking about, the volume of his thoughts were, to my knowledge, from what I understand, is me and my baby. This is awesome. So it's not the most thoughtful thing where you could be like, well, how's this going to affect this person or that person or that person? No, he was just thinking about the one thing. I love the fact that my baby's healthy.
Everybody looks at the world through different lenses. But I think you would have to have a pretty screwed up lens to be like, I had a unhealthy baby back then and I just had a good one, so I'm going to tweet about it.
I'm not saying it's a conscious thing he's doing. For instance, my Judah was born with a hematoma over, like, he's got it's a big old birthmark. It's this massive blood clot. It's over the muscle. He came out, and fresh out of my wife, there's this massive purple spot on his side. And my wife's like, what's wrong with him? And she's freaking out. And I'm like, he's perfect. Lay down. Just, you hush. I'm freaked out too, but I said that for her. Like, he's perfect. Leave him alone. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. We found out it was a hematoma. It's a common thing. No big deal. And I guess what I'm saying is that little thing, the hematoma on Judah, influences us. It influences us about how we deal with Judah. It also influences us on, it made us even less likely to have, because we're getting older. She's 38, I'm 38. I don't mind dating myself like, hey, I'm older. It made us also think, well, hey, we're definitely not having any more kids. We're good at 3. Because we don't know how we would respond if our kid had some physical health difficulty that we had to work through. The reason why I say it's not the most thoughtful thing he could have said, like, he didn't think about all of the avenues. He just thought about one thing. He was thinking about one thing, how excited he was that his kid was healthy. That's all he was thinking about. The reason why I say that that's relevant is because it makes me think of, and this is not even a planned segue, it just makes me think of it, and we were talking about it earlier, Kamala Harris, when she talked about the whole, I'm sad, and her retraction of when she said, Jussie Smollett's one of the most caring, considerate people I've ever met. This was a modern day lynching. We got to seek justice for this, and then come to find out the doofus faked the whole thing. And I'll be honest with you, if you fake a hate crime, I think you're a scumbag. I don't care what color you are, what race, whatever, what religion. If you fake a hate crime, you're a scumbag, in my opinion. So her response when they found out that it was faked was, well, I'm just sad, and I'm sad and disappointed to hear that he faked this report. Well, again, that's not the most thoughtful thing to say, because you're essentially saying, and I talked to you about this, like, you're essentially saying that you're sad and disappointed that a hate crime didn't happen. You're sad and disappointed that Jussie Smollett was lying about a hate crime. You would rather him have been telling the truth, that he got treated this way, victimized in this way. And obviously, she's either is thinking about that and decided, like, she doesn't care, she is disappointed that it didn't really happen, or she's not thinking about that at all. Because when I read that, I'm like, you can't say I'm so thrilled that this was not a real hate crime and Jussie Smollett needs to be held accountable. That's way more thoughtful, in my opinion. In the same way, there's probably a more thoughtful way for him to say what he said about his kid under his circumstances. Do you disagree with me?
Well, I understood the meaning of it.
You understood the meaning. But you're like, I understand what you were trying to say. It was all wrong, so I just don't feel, it's so wrong, I don't feel like contradicting it. For those of you who don't know, Chandra is the friend of mine who formatted my manuscript into a book, Man of God. I don't care what you want to talk about. You said earlier, this is my podcast. This is what your words. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's see. Well, then what else do we want to talk about?
I thought it would just happen, apparently.
See, that's why you usually have to have a topic. All right, Chandra.
You want to talk about getting old?
Is the world going to end? How long till the world ends? How long till the world ends?
I don't want to talk about that.
If your best guess. 2 years? 10 years? 5 years? Are you post-tribulation, pre-tribulation, or mid-tribulation rapture person?
I thought I was fine talking about stuff like that, and I don't think I am, because I think people will come at me.
They're not going to come at you.
And they're going to say I'm stupid.
You're allowed to have an opinion. That's what a podcast is.
I just got extremely fearful for you said my name at the beginning.
They know my name every time. Okay, fine. I will bleep out. I'm here with. I'll make the cackling chimpanzee thing. Whenever I do your name instead. You want to do?
That was insulting on another level.
I wasn't talking. What do you mean? Why? That's literally a noise I use.
Okay.
Like it's one of my sound bit clips I use.
Okay.
No. Didn't you want a code name?
No.
I'm here with J.K. Rowling.
I thought she died. But she didn't die. That was Anne Rice that just died.
Ooh, what'd she write again? Interview with a Vampire. Jinx. Now this is going to be a not good podcast.
I had to quit reading her books because she got into sodomy too much.
How into sodomy do you think she was? Today we were talking about all the things we're not going to talk about.
Well, if you prequeled it like that, then I might feel more free to say the things, because I feel like I can't talk about things or the people will judge me. Like, that's how I feel.
Well, I mean, people are going to judge you always. If you put it out there, the good news is my videos only average 50 to 100 views. So, yeah. And most of those people probably.
That's the horrifying part.
Okay, so we're not talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, no, we can talk about Epstein.
We're not talking about the end times.
We can talk about the end times.
You said no on all of those.
I can't be myself.
I can't be myself. Podcasting sucks.
That's how it feels. Where's Joel? I'm gonna... I feel
Do I need to leave so you can pee?
No.
Because you're like, because if I go pee, I just want to go home.
You don't know, Clifton. I think I have issues.
You think? Listen, Clifton, our friendship is right here. If I get up to go pee, get my purse.
I'm excited about the new Matrix. I know, I'm excited to see it and experience it. I think it could be good. I'm afraid of all the liberal stuff they're going to stuff into it. I think it's going to be
hot woke. Hot woke.
I know, but I think it could still be fun.
I think it's going to be hot woke because of... did you hear... Maybe it was you who told me that, about the Wachowski siblings. Mm-hmm. They said the original Matrix series was all about being transgender.
No, I did not hear that.
Apparently, they said it's all about taking the red pill, essentially, is like being red pilled to your true gender identity.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Kind of ruined the Matrix for me.
Well, before, when me and you talked about this... I believe you said you didn't reference to the general public that the Wachowski brothers are now the Wachowski sisters. They've both transitioned.
Yeah.
I think it's worth bringing up into the conversation because some people may not even know that.
Yeah, so for them, the Wachowski siblings who wrote the Matrix trilogy, the original Matrix trilogy, they wrote it. They didn't just direct it, right? They wrote and directed it.
Yes, but it's now being said it was stolen from this black lady. Am I allowed to say that?
If being black is relevant.
She's black. I don't know.
It was stolen from this other lady.
Yeah, it was stolen.
It was stolen from this other lady. Maybe. Allegedly. We got to use those words.
Yeah.
Allegedly stolen from this other lady.
I hope not, though, because I really loved the original trilogy.
Well, I really, really enjoyed the original trilogy. But I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea that I think this next movie is just going to be left-wing propaganda. I think it's what it's going to be. you have Neo being led around like a puppy dog by this blue-haired young girl, for crying out loud. Like she's like the new trendy, you thought you've been getting it right this whole time, let me show you the truth person. In the 90s, she would have just been the cool club chick, is what Joel, he said, like, I would have been just the cool chick at the club with the blue hair. But now that has a totally different, that's a stereotype. That's a trope that they're literally leading the main character of the entire series around by that trope.
Well, I wonder how they're gonna. Okay, so in the previews, it shows Keanu and what's her face, his girlfriend in the show,
Trinity.
and Trinity.
That's why he says it so. Trinity. It's just,
but it shows them being in the Matrix and not realizing
and being completely confused.
Yeah, they don't know who they were in their own histories. Are they gonna show how it got to that point? Because Neo was flying around doing whatever he wanted to do. How did it get to that point?
Well, obviously we've not seen it yet.
Yeah.
It just looks like to me that they're going to recycle the old plot line. I think if I had to wager, I'd say Neo and Trinity are only in this first movie. They plan on making a series.
Oh, no.
And I think they're going to replace them with newer characters.
That's awful. And
I
they're
think
probably going to go through the whole discovery themselves again, won't they? Getting out of the Matrix.
Rehashing the whole plot line, but they're passing it down to a younger generation.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the Star Wars sequel trilogy in Matrix, and I think it's going to tank. That's me personally. And I hate that. I hate that because I was excited for the series.
Well,
or for, at least for this movie, the addition of this movie on the series.
So, you know how the thought of this world that keeps
repeating over and over.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about how they're starting to believe that, you know how they're saying, modern civilization began like 12,000 years ago and stuff, but now they're thinking there was a modern society longer ago than that.
Are you familiar with Wheel of Time?
Yes.
On Amazon.
Yes.
That's a 14-book long series. That's its premise. That the Wheel of Time, this has happened over and over and over and over and over and over.
Well, so are you, biblically, do you think we're 6,000 years old? Or
think about eternity, okay? Like, think about never ending. So I could look at you and say, is it far-fetched to say after 1,000 years in heaven, God says, hey, I want to try something? And if you were to look at me and say, well, yeah, that's a little far-fetched. We've only been in heaven 1,000 years, and you're saying God's already going to start something? Okay. I say, what about 1,000,000 years? What about 10 million? What about 1,000,000,000? Because forever is forever. At some point, you're going to tell me God is not interested in doing something else. Again. Mm-hmm. My thought is, if that's the case, if there's a chance that God sets some other ball in motion, another planet or Earth again or whatever, after so much time, there's also the chance that this is not the first time he's done it. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it.
Now, I agree to a certain extent, but I don't think Jesus is coming and dying over and over.
That part, I don't know. Yeah. Because I look at it, and people have said this is a humanistic viewpoint, like a view of God. Scripturally, it says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame. And people have said part of that joy is the 1,000-year millennial reign, where God takes the scepter of power and everything, places it, God the Father places it in the hands of Jesus, God the Son, and says, now you will rule. And God and Jesus rules for 1,000 years as the big cheese, let's say, over everybody.
Do you call God the big cheese?
No, I call Jesus the big cheese, God the Son. So, in a situation where you're dealing with immortals, beings that never die, there's no transition of power ever, unless you contractually make one. And so it makes sense that God never dies, Jesus never dies, the Holy Spirit, they never die. So God says, hey, you'll be in my seat. I'll put you in my seat for 1,000 years if you do this thing, if you make this sacrifice. I don't know that would never happen again. I don't know that it hasn't happened before. I don't know that this whole thing hasn't happened in similar ways and fashions beforehand. I don't know that.
Like, I'm willing to entertain that thought, but generally, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Belief is a different thing.
Yeah.
You could say it's possible, I don't believe it. And that's fine. That's how I am. I'm like, it's possible. I don't know whether I believe that or not. I'm inclined to think that something like that may happen again. Of course, I think that God was more hands-on with creation. I feel like he was hopeful that things weren't going to go as south as they went from day one. I feel like he was much more hopeful that things would remain more innocent and beautiful in the way he created it initially. That's what I think. I could be wrong. That the Calvinist type scenario could be totally right, that he had it figured out from day one. It was all going to go to this, and Jesus was going to have to die. That may be the way it is. That may be the way it was. I'm inclined to think it's a little bit more hands-on. It's a little more evolutionary plan. When when it says he set the animals before Adam to see what he would name them, I genuinely think he maybe didn't know what Adam was going to name them, and it was exciting him to see the names Adam came up with. That seems more fun to me.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. We will try to have more content as soon as possible. You guys are awesome, and keep being awesome. Like, comment, order Man of God Salvation from Amazon. All the links are in the description. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and keep being awesome, because that's how he made you.